All right, let's bring in Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the Republican National Committee. Sean, thanks for spending time with us this morning. And I want to start with something that conservative blogger Eric Erickson wrote in response to the remarks that we were just discussing, saying, quote, the Romney campaign should double down on what he said. They should own it. The trouble for the left and media is that most Americans agree with Mitt Romney, end quote. What do you think here? Should Romney double down on these comments?
Well, what Mitt Romney said was that he didn't state it the most elegant way, but that it's a different philosophy that he's trying to express. This administration has been focused on a government-centered society where government grows larger and larger in terms of the services. They put out a infographic earlier this year talking about the life of Julia, how every American is dependent on government. At their convention, they talked about how government's the only thing we all belong to. And what Mitt Romney's talking about is the free enterprise system, allowing people to go out there and make it on their own, to try to succeed, get government out of the way and let the free enterprise system work and let our country flourish. So it is a two different philosophies that are being expressed during this campaign, one centered on government, one centered on free enterprise.
Sean, should he double down on this comment, though? Should he take this more strongly and more specifically? Should he continue this idea?
Well, I mean, you heard just now, you just played the clip, Richard, where he said, look, this is what I believe in terms of I'm going to talk about this message of free enterprise. I'm going to talk about not having the government in the center, reducing regulations, cutting taxes, allowing businesses to thrive, that they can create jobs and help lift everybody up. I think you are going to hear more about that message. So, I mean, he said it in the correction. Yeah, he's going to continue to talk about how a free enterprise system helps America, helps businesses, helps people hire people to get jobs, to create a better life for their families.
You know, Sean, his comments from the tape that we were just playing, and in the past, that he's leaving basically this group for his opponent, President Obama. He's saying that he's never going to get them. But the Tax Foundation actually found that the percentage of non-payers is actually higher in Republican states on this map right here. And so the question might be asked, you know, how can you win by not addressing almost half the electorate, much of which are Republican states?
Well, I think what the governor was talking about there is that when you look at polling right now, there's about 47%, give or take, on both sides that are hardcore, saying 47% saying I'm going to be with Obama and 47% or so, give or take, that are with me. And we're both sides are playing for that, you know, 6 to 10% in the middle. That's what he was talking about in terms of appealing to that group, that you aren't going to appeal to a message of lower taxes, lower regulation, free enterprise, less government, to a group that's already agreed that they're supporting President Obama. What the governor was talking about is a strategic way of saying, okay, there's a group of people in this election that have already decided they're with President Obama. There's a group that's decided with me. Both sides are now going after that group in the middle and trying to express our philosophy going forward, that we need to put these 23 million Americans back to work, stop spending more than we have, that $16 trillion in debt is way too much.
We're getting close to that 45-day before the election mark, a very important mark. And headlines yesterday were retooling, then backroom infighting, and now we've got this. Do you lose another week in your narrative, in your campaigning, and can you afford that if you're Governor Romney right now?
Well, I think when you look at what's going on in the states, especially the battleground states, the concern out there is still, first and foremost, jobs. And that's what Governor Romney and Paul Ryan and the rest of the campaign is focused on talking about. So when you look at what's actually happening on the ground in the states, voter to voter, those are the issues that are driving this election. That's what we're talking about. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to be carried. Is people saying, I'm not better off than I was 4 years ago. Mitt Romney's got a plan that's going to get this country turned around, get the debt under control, put people back to work, and get the government out of our lives. I think that's what's going to carry the day, and that's what you're hearing more and more on the ground in the states. I know sometimes the Beltway mentality is to get caught up in the day-to-day back and forth of what's going on inside the campaigns, but that's not what the average American cares about.
Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the Republican National Committee, thank you for your time today. All right, let's bring in our